I know you're out there and you are afraid of change. I don't know the future, and I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to start this video, and I'm going to show you what everyone needs to see. I'm going to show you a world without centralization, a world without rules or controls, without borders or boundaries, a world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice that is collectively left for you. Let's discuss. Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together we're minting coins. So welcome to the show. We are super excited. We are just woke up, went to sleep, and woke up with watching this Bitcoin price really blow past the $3,000 mark, and then this morning skyrocketing over $3,200. It's just a huge point to have an all-time high for Bitcoin after this, scaling debate. Even with all of this drama and all this confusion and all this uncertainty with this fork of Bitcoin, this hard fork of Bitcoin that's created Bitcoin Cash as we all know it existing in the world today. People were talking about the total value of Bitcoin between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash collectively being over $3,000 a few days ago, and how that was an all-time high. That's not something that I'm subscribing to in terms of my thinking about how much Bitcoin is worth. I think it's interesting to think about it that way, especially if we're hedging our bets and we have a 1 Bitcoin for 1 Bitcoin Cash in our wallets. But I think it's important to recognize that in terms of Bitcoin, there's really only 21 million Bitcoins. And then in terms of Bitcoin Cash, there's only 21 million Bitcoin Cash. And so, yes, if you have one of each, then perhaps you can collectively think about it as like the total price. And, thinking about it out loud, maybe that's a great idea to think about it that way, assuming that your strategy is to have 1 Bitcoin for 1 Bitcoin Cash. Because as we're going to go over in this video, there's a lot of things happening in the world of Bitcoin and in the world of Bitcoin Cash. And there's a lot of talk, a lot of, people throwing their opinions and their words and their energies toward each other like ancient sumo battles of these, different philosophies, these different trains of thought. And I guess I've been having some questions for myself and really stepping back and asking myself, what is the real Bitcoin and what is Bitcoin and what's going on in the world today? And so I guess I've stepped back for a second to ask myself, what is SegWit? Who is Bitcoin Core? And what is Bitcoin Cash and the big blocks? And who are the people who are supporting Bitcoin Cash? And what is their background? And what are different people saying about this situation? And so, I guess first of all, I think of myself as just a normal, relatively normal, average guy. I work really hard. I'm, maybe middle class, I suppose. I have 5 kids, and I just am, I would say practically struggling just to make ends meet, right? And so I'm living in this world, I'm working in this world, and I've learned about Bitcoin, and I know that Bitcoin is an amazing peer-to-peer a store of value. It's an amazing peer-to-peer electronic form of cash that doesn't require any third party to ask for permission to make these exchanges these exchanges of Bitcoin. And at the same time, I know Bitcoin is limited to 21 million Bitcoins, and that's both of those are core principles of what Bitcoin is. And I suppose ultimately, thinking about all the people running Bitcoin and all the people in terms of the history of running Bitcoin, there's a lot of information that's out there about each of these people. And we can get a sense of what it is they care about and what it is that motivates them. And so we can make, relative guesses at who people are and what people's intentions are. But ultimately, nobody really knows in terms of the people. And then in terms of the technology, until the technology is fully tested and fully explored and really developed to the point when it's used across lots of people in the society, we really need to make sure that everyone's code is going to perform and do what that code is going to do, and what the promises are. Because if someone makes a major mistake in Bitcoin, as we've heard from lots of people talk about this before, including Andreas and Sinopoulos, if there's an error in the code, then that goes to the blockchain, and it's very difficult, if not impossible, to write more code, which could have more errors, to then fix the blockchain, especially with getting people to agree to implement this code. And so part of me, looking at the situation sort of from a neutral point of view, just recognizing, even from the get-go, if you watch the previous videos, I've been very pro SegWit and I've been very pro Bitcoin BTC, and at the same time, I've cautioned everyone to not necessarily short Bitcoin Cash, because Bitcoin Cash is definitely interesting. Bitcoin Cash definitely has utility. And most of all, Bitcoin Cash has the backing of the major financial institutions and organizations inside this new industrial order. And, if they have a lot of money, if they have a lot of resources, if they have an agenda to either lift up their own cryptocurrency and or to destroy the original Bitcoin, then it's just smart business to hedge, keep an open mind about the technologies, and to perhaps hedge on both technologies, and to not necessarily say bad things about someone or say bad things about something when we either don't understand it completely, or when we're sort of locked into the belief systems and the belief structures that we've sort of have grown through, and that we've grown with, and that we've grown to understand. And so, is it a good idea for us just to take a step back and for us to look at the situation and just to not necessarily reanalyze what it is that we know, but just to keep an open mind with the information that's coming in, for us? And so, with that being said, there's a lot of questions out there about Bitcoin Cash, and there's a lot of questions out there about Bitcoin. I know that from running our meetup group and from running the Minting Coins channel, that a lot of people are interested in trading, and a lot of people are interested in making life-changing profits to, really buy cryptocurrencies and be ahead of the curve so they can take advantage of the exponential gains that people have been seeing in Bitcoin really since its inception. And ultimately, if you're looking for a trading channel, if you're looking for trading advice, then this is not the place. I am not the person for that. There's great channels out there for trading in cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies, including the Dollar Vigilante. Who do we have? The Cryptocurrency Market with Tai Zen and Leon Fu. Crypto, Omar Bam, who is just out there, and all those guys giving great advice about buying and selling trades. But this isn't about buying and selling for trading. This is about Bitcoin and blockchain technology, information, education, and community. This is about common people, normal people, people who don't have, necessarily hundreds of millions or millions and millions of dollars to just throw around. This is about everyday people waking up, learning about what's happening all around us and how this is going to sweep not just America, not just Europe, not just Asia, but the entire world. And so that's what we're doing here is bringing people news, bringing people commentary, bringing people education, because if you're just looking to make quick buys and quick sells, well, maybe sometimes we have that information, and inside the news and the commentary, you're going to get all sorts of interesting tips. But this is about the long game. This is about dollar cost averaging into the cryptocurrency market, just a little bit of what you can afford to lose every month. This is about buying and holding long term. And when there's a lot of fear in the market, and there's a lot of selling in the market, purchasing, and when there's a lot of hype, and there's a lot of currencies going up and a lot of green, well, maybe we don't want to buy in those moments. But while traders would perhaps sell and as part of their buy sell process, I think it's important to take profits when you can, and to definitely get some profits, especially if you've put money in. It's good to be at a point where you don't have any of your own actual money, so to speak, inside the game. But it's really about holding long term, because there's the everyday small day trades we can make, but long term we really don't know where this is going. Long term, we just don't know if BTC is going to be the one Bitcoin to rule them all, or if Bitcoin Cash is going to be able to overtake BTC because of the power, because of the system changes inside the Bitcoin code, of Bitcoin Cash code that the Bitcoin Cash developers have implemented in there for the miners. And so where do we go from there? And so I guess a second ago we were talking about, if you have one Bitcoin, it may be a good idea to have keep or have that one Bitcoin Cash to match it, because we're going to go over some information in the news that's been coming out in the past day or two, and there's some really concerning information out there, and I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's fear and uncertainty and doubt entering the market, but there's a huge chance from my perspective that Bitcoin Cash is here to stay. There's a huge chance from my perspective that Bitcoin Cash is going to fight to be the number one Bitcoin, that Bitcoin Cash is going to fight to drop the cash out of its name and to simply be called Bitcoin in the future to come. And who was it? John McAfee, who was saying that when he said that the $500,000 per Bitcoin price point that he's targeting in less than 3 years from today, he was specifically referring to the Jihan Wu, Bitmain via BTC, big block Bitcoin. The Bitcoin Cash coin is what John McAfee was talking about when he did that price prediction. And so we just don't know which direction it's going to go. I don't have a personal connection or contact, other than through, Reddit and forums and things like that, with anyone from Bitcoin Core. I'm pretty technical, but I'm not so technical that I can dissect, the specificities of the blockchain technology, of the SegWit code, to really understand, is it going to do what it says it's going to do? And so there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of known knowns, a lot of unknown knowns, and then there's certainly unknown unknowns out there that we are just simply unaware of. And so we can put our money where our heart is, and we can just sell all of our Bitcoin, or we can sell all of our Bitcoin Cash, or we could put our money where our mind is, and we could put our money where our collective reasoning is, and we can dollar cost average, we can buy and hold, because I don't think there's a huge rush to dump all your coins. I think that this whole market is lifting up. And it's like some people are asking me, is Bitcoin going to die, or is Bitcoin Cash going to die? And I suppose I'm thinking about Dogecoin, and there was an interesting meme. I should have pulled that up. But you know, if Dogecoin is still around, if Dogecoin is still trading today, then Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash will always, always, always be around. These coins are not going to die. If Max Coin and Nicolas Cage Coin is still existing today, then these coins are not going to die. And knowing they're not going to die, knowing there's not going to be more than 21 million of the Bitcoins or the Bitcoin Cash, knowing that there's ginormous constituencies that are pro Bitcoin, SegWit, and then there's ginormous constituencies, however you create these, diagrams, either with people or resources or money who support Bitcoin Cash and support what's going on there at the big block. Both of these coins are going to be existing for a long, long forever. When I say a long, long forever, I mean, these aren't going anywhere. And so I suppose that creates an additional concern coming up in November if we have this potential additional hard fork, therefore creating yet another Bitcoin. And we just don't know. But we can provide some clarity. We can provide some understanding with what's going on with the information that's being provided from us inside the news. So with that being said, why don't we take a quick peek at the market, look at a couple memes, pop into the news, and let's discuss. All right. So first turning over to CoinMarketCap.com. Before we get into some really interesting information that's coming out of the news and coming out of some forums that I'm just really have my mind wrapped around, right? But starting here, the market cap has ballooned even higher to $110 billion. It's a lot of money back into that cryptocurrency space. We are just right back where we were just a few weeks ago, a month ago. About $4 billion in trading in the past 24 hours, the Bitcoin dominance increasing to almost 48%. And where is all this money? Well, we have, about $1.6 billion in trading for the Bitcoin BTC, with only $170 million in trading for the Bitcoin Cash. Sort of interesting to see so much trading for Bitcoin, and compared to so little trading for Bitcoin Cash. There's even been more trading for Litecoin at 214 million. We see the Bitcoin Cash continue to dump, down 16.55% in the past 24 hours, as essentially everything else is up except for Tether. But Tether's based on the US dollar, so if all those cryptocurrencies are going up, I think we're going to expect to see the Tether go down just a little bit, because people are selling all of that Tether to then put it into the other cryptocurrencies and blockchains. Right, and so here we are with Bitcoin Cash at $227. There are 16.4 million Bitcoin Cash coins, and there are 16.4, a little bit more, 16.49 BTC coins. And so again, both these coins, there's never going to be more than 21 million. Both of these coins are essentially here to stay forever. And knowing that we don't know what's going to happen, I want to put it out there and say it's absolutely possible that this Bitcoin Cash could overtake Bitcoin in terms of market cap, just as Ethereum can easily overtake Bitcoin in terms of the Ethereum market cap. Compared to Bitcoin, right? These can be in any sort of order. And before we were talking about the competition, before being, months ago maybe, we were talking about the competition and the flippening between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Well, now there's also the flippening, thought concept between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash specifically. And this flippening may exist with the market cap. This flippening may exist with the mining power and how much mining and hash power is mining whatever the real Bitcoin is, as we saw about in Gavin Andreessen's post from one of our most recent videos 2 days ago. So really interesting there. And I think really where the excitement is today and where the news is today isn't so much on Bitcoin Cash. It's really on the fact that we have broken $3,200 for just Bitcoin. And so, this adds onto the dumping of Bitcoin Cash, and this adds onto the poo-poo of Bitcoin Cash. But you got to remember, if everyone is talking smack about Bitcoin Cash and if everyone is selling Bitcoin Cash, then the trader part of me and the investor part of me is thinking, if this is the low point, if you want to buy low, right? And so if Bitcoin Cash is low, that's when a lot of people, a lot of institutional investors, a lot of hedge funds, a lot of whales out there in Bitcoin. Normally with Bitcoin BTC, this is what they're doing. We know that. I mean, it's just smart business. It's smart money. They are buying when there's fear. They're buying Bitcoin when it's low, and they're selling it when it's high. And so why would they do anything differently for Bitcoin Cash? So if Bitcoin Cash is the lowest point, and they're recognizing that it's so similar, and it's only it's essentially the same price as Ethereum, right? Like, oh my God, Ethereum is more expensive than Bitcoin Cash. It really creates a huge opportunity. I mean, how crazy is this? Ethereum is more expensive than Bitcoin Cash, and Ethereum has unlimited inflation with currently over 93 million of these coins. I'm not necessarily promoting one coin or the other. In terms of my point here. My point here is simply to say that this is a huge opportunity for people with money, and if you are a common person in the world just trying to make ends meet, then you just want to be aware that this is both an opportunity and a risk. But with Bitcoin, that's really the news. We hit over $3,000. I saw this cool meme, Bitcoin man saying, "Oh yeah, $3,000." This guy says here he's finally been saving his meme for over 2 months. He probably had it. He's probably just ready to push that post button right when it was at $2,900, right before it all dropped down. And but finally now we get to see that Bitcoin Kool-Aid man crashed through the wall. Super excited. A lot of people super excited about this. Cool. So this is really exciting. This is building up a lot of interest in Bitcoin. Bitcoin BTC has a network effect. It has SegWit signaling working, fully activated, probably in just a few days, less than a week. It's the 5th today, and I think we're expecting it in just 3 or 4 days or so for it to get fully activated. And then what? And then I suppose the Bitcoin core people get to start furthering the development and really making happen everything that they said is going to happen. So then, I suppose we'll start seeing progress as the other side, continues on with their plan as well. Both sides have a plan. These might be like corporations, decentralized corporation. You have the Bitcoin Core decentralized corporation. You have the Bitcoin Cash decentralized corporation, and there's videos that talk about the differences, the SWOT analysis of these two decentralized organizations. But they both have plans, they both have agendas, they're both working on those simultaneously. The competition is strong, the competition is healthy, the competition is fierce, and it's just something that we want to keep in top of mind. And I suppose it's another reason to perhaps keep that 1-for-1 ratio, just to hedge your bets and just to have a little bit of security. What do you guys think about that idea? So turning over to today's news and starting over at CoinDesk.com, I like to mention with CoinDesk.com that CoinDesk.com has owners or investors the same as Coinbase. And Coinbase, as we talked about in previous videos, is owned by the Digital Marketing Group. And the Digital Marketing Group, long story short, as we saw from the BTC video, is through a chain of companies actually owned by NASDAQ. And so, long story short, CoinDesk is essentially owned by NASDAQ. And so while CoinDesk is one of the leaders in bringing news to the people, and it seems as if they're doing their best to provide different sides of the information, CoinDesk is, definitely has an interest in promoting big block technology. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I just want you to recognize that that CoinDesk does have that perspective from an ownership level. And so here there's just a little bit of information, and perhaps if there's any miners watching, you guys can help me understand this, or any blockchain developers, you guys can help me understand this a little bit more. But this CoinDesk article is talking about why even miners that hate Bitcoin Cash may want to start mining Bitcoin Cash. And there's a lot of things about this article that are super technical, super dry, and they simply don't make sense. But at a high level, it says that basically there's difficulty adjustments in the new Bitcoin Cash, that they adjusted the code to adjust for the difficulty. And so that basically if there's less than 6 blocks that are found in 12 hours, that the difficulty goes down for the miners 20%, making it easier for those miners to find blocks inside Bitcoin Cash because the difficulty is lowered. So then a miner would then be able to find a block 20% faster and spend 20% electricity, which is like a double whammy for being awesome for the miner. It's not only faster, but it's so they get paid, but you also save a lot of money by not having to pay the electricity. So it's really more than two good things when you add up those two good things, and like a business breakdown. So so the profitability calculator would suddenly change. Finding Bitcoin blocks would be 14.5 as hard as finding Bitcoin Cash. So then we're talking about the change in difficulty, because right now, because the fork just happened, the difficulty for both the Bitcoin Cash and the Bitcoin is the same. And while there's a lot more people mining Bitcoin BTC because it's more profitable, it can, the difficulty will change. And then based on the cost of each coin, this is why there's websites like whattomine.com. If you go to whattomine.com, it'll show you which coin is the best coin for you to mine based on the type of currency that you're set up to mine. And so they're just saying that it could make the math, such as that it's cheaper or more profitable to mine the Bitcoin Cash. But this gets sort of confusing, and it gets really sort of interesting, because to prevent a downward difficulty adjustment on the Bitcoin Cash and triggering an exodus of mining power from Bitcoin, that they have some sort of signaling ability. The surest, easiest way to make sure the Bitcoin Cash mines 6 blocks every 12 hours. And so they're saying that to keep it in homeostasis, essentially, that they need to keep 6 blocks mining every 6 hours. Let me see here. And so it's really confusing, because then they say, how do you prevent the others that you're mining Bitcoin Cash and not support it, and then preventing this difficulty adjustment, keeping the homeostasis? They're saying that's where this COINBASE message comes in, and by adding the message that the programmers added, and the miners, can then signal to each other. They can say that they're just not needed, that the other miners aren't needed, keeping them mining the other Bitcoin. It's really, really interesting, really, really confusing. I'm not really sure what the Coinbase message is, because the other times that the word Coinbase is mentioned in the article, they're just talking about the coin in terms of the Coinbase reward. So if someone wants to take a peek at this and help me understand what does this mean about the difficulty adjustments in the miners and how they're going to be keeping this homeostasis every 12 hours, a little bit beyond me. Okay, so getting into really the main sort of the main catalyst that really jumped out at me is that there's this thread going over at 4chan.org. And so for anyone that doesn't know, 4chan is a website out there that has information. It's like this, as you can see, it's like a message board forum, with threads and people posting, copy and images and stuff a lot of anonymous users are using this and whatnot. And so this was posted just yesterday, I believe, and or the third day before at this point. So this one person comes on here, and so this one person is talking about really promoting Bitcoin Cash, hardcore Bitcoin Cash promoter, and they're on this forum anonymously, and they're posting some information. And while I don't know if this information is true or not, I just wanted to bring this information to you so you can understand the context of why it could be a risk for you to sell all of your Bitcoin Cash. And so this person is alleging that they still have daily chats with a lot of people from the early days, including a lot of big holders, a lot of miners, essentially a lot of whales with both fiat currency and cryptocurrency. And they're really pro Bitcoin Cash that they're saying. They're saying that these people will fight for what they consider to be the real Bitcoin, aka Bitcoin Cash. And I think it goes a lot deeper than just fighting for what they consider to be the real Bitcoin. It's also fighting against, Bitcoin BTC, fighting against Bitcoin Core, fighting against SegWit, because it's just it's a package deal when we're talking about Bitcoin, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next couple tabs here. So this person goes on to state that the SegWit team doesn't have any money, and that the big blockers are people with lots of money. The big blockers are people like Roger Ver, Craig Wright, Jihan Wu, Gavin Andreasen, and lots of these big miners, early miners. And combined, this person is alleging that they have billions worth in Bitcoin, and that they're angry and they're ready to put their money where their mouth is. And there's this one article from CryptoCoin News that just talked about this one miner stating that they had $100 million in USD to kill any, essentially Bitcoin Core version of SegWit that was going to soft fork or hard fork away, back when they thought that the Bitcoin Unlimited was going to be the main coin progressing. So anyway, so that's the background of what this person is saying, and then they get into a little bit of more detail here. And so this person says that there's this secret miner or group of miners that's been mining the BCC BCH chain at a loss, and so they're definitely losing money, especially with the difficulty that's currently there, and the extreme drop in price. The futures of the Bitcoin Cash were around $400, give or take, and then I saw it as high as $1,000. But as we saw today, Ethereum is more in USD than Bitcoin Cash, so they're definitely mining at a loss. So they're saying that this miner has spent an estimated of 10 millions. So I'm not really sure about this person's English, but $10 million in hardware and over $100,000 a day mining this Bitcoin Cash at a loss. If this is true, and I'm sure this can somehow be at least partially validated, it's a lot of money. I mean, this isn't someone without to have the amount of soft hardware and to be mining this, and then the amount of money or resources to get the electricity. It's a lot of money to be wasting or spending toward Bitcoin Cash. It is a lot, right? And so the whales. So this person says this is what's going to happen. He or she says that the whales cannot dump all their Bitcoin at once, and they're going to be doing it slowly. And then the whales are going to be accumulating the Bitcoin Cash as everyone is selling the Bitcoin Cash. And so this is a situation that we actually have right now. Everyone is selling Bitcoin Cash for Bitcoin, and then we see the price of Bitcoin skyrocketing over $3,200 today, right now. We see Bitcoin Cash plummeting, and so if this is true, if the first part is true, if they've been mining at a loss, in terms of daily and with the equipment, and they have all that money, and then B, they have all the money to now purchase all this BCC, and lots of people are asking, who's purchasing all this Bitcoin Cash? Who are the buyers of Bitcoin Cash? I don't think the buyers of Bitcoin Cash are just people who are buying one or two, Bitcoin Cash tokens. We're talking about the people who are just have huge orders out there for lots of this stuff. So slowly accumulating the Bitcoin Cash, then trading Bitcoin BTC for Bitcoin Cash. And so this person says in the blue part here, at a certain part that they're going to witness this flippening, which we were talking about earlier in the coin market review. And we're going to experience this flippening because of the faster difficulty adjustment and higher market cap price. It will become more profitable to mine the Bitcoin Cash than the BTC Bitcoin. And so earlier we were talking about this mining adjustment, this mining difficulty adjustment, and what that means for Bitcoin Cash, the fact that this has been put into Bitcoin Cash to make different ways that Bitcoin can be mined. In terms of how Bitcoin is mined, in terms of changing the difficulty, making it easier and faster for the miners to then mine Bitcoin. And so then flipping because of the changes in mining difficulty, because of the market price. And so then since BTC has no fast difficulty adjustment, so they're incorporating this as a part of their strategy here. They're saying that the Bitcoin BTC chain is going to be starved. The blocks could take hours to be found after they get to this point, and then the difficulty will go up. And that for Bitcoin BTC to have a difficulty adjustment, it's because then theoretically at this point, mining Bitcoin BTC is very hard. The miners switch over to Bitcoin Cash. That leaves Bitcoin BTC with fewer miners. And then the fewer miners on BTC would then theoretically, hypothetically be left with the situation that Bitcoin Cash is in currently, where there's fewer miners and a huge difficulty adjustment. But the problem theoretically with BTC is that the BTC would not be able to adjust this difficulty because they would have to wait the full 2-4 week cycle, because Bitcoin BTC doesn't have this fast difficulty adjustment, which they have added in when Bitcoin Cash forked. And so this person's saying that that's essentially going to kill Bitcoin. We know no cryptocurrency can be killed. It can only be divided. It can only be muddled, but it can't be killed. But if this does happen, and then the institutions, the programmers, the development, the investment money, larger organizations, government institutions started turning over and really rolling into the Bitcoin Cash, it could create a catalyst effect. It could create a type of tipping point that could perpetuate Bitcoin Cash into the future, just as a possibility. And so this person throws on some more fear and uncertainty and doubt by just trying to make us question what's going on here and bring this information to our attention, that we're sitting in a high table stakes of poker, a table of high stakes poker, and that these people who are angry and anti-Bitcoin Core, anti-SegWit, they have a lot of money, they have a plan, and that their plan is to crash Blockstream and SegWit into the ground and to have BCC go to the moon. And so what's going to happen there? No one can say. I don't know if this is going to happen, but this does outline a plan. This does outline a strategy. This does outline specific tactics with specific points where Bitcoin Cash could overtake Bitcoin. And so is it smart to hedge your bets? Is it smart to have a portion of your cryptocurrency portfolio in Bitcoin Cash? People say that this is just another altcoin. People say that Bitcoin forks all the time, and both of those are 100% true. The difference here is that Bitcoin Cash has lots of money, lots of influence, and just a lot on their side, not just in support of the Bitcoin Cash, but also in opposition of Bitcoin proper. And so let's go a little bit deeper into this. So so let's differentiate that there are some people who are pro Bitcoin Cash, and some of those people who are pro Bitcoin Cash, they may be anti SegWit. The people who are pro Bitcoin Cash, they may be anti Bitcoin Core. But separately from the people who are pro Bitcoin Cash, there are people who are just straight up anti Bitcoin, maybe anti all Bitcoin, or anti just the original Bitcoin that came out, or maybe they're anti all Bitcoin. It's really interesting. So so I wanted to continue this conversation about Bitcoin and what is the real Bitcoin, and just bring some context and some perspective that I've been hearing in the community about Bitcoin. And again, I'm just learning about this, and I'm sharing this information with you, and I don't know necessarily the true history of the people involved, because I haven't spoken with them. I wasn't there. I'm just left with all the Bitcoin movies that were originally created about the topic in terms of what happened and what's been going on. And yeah, and it seems as if from what I can discern is that there's definitely a lot of people who like the blockchain technology because of the control that it gives, but they don't like the original philosophy of Bitcoin's version of the technology. Bitcoin's idea, which I think it came out of the 2007, 2008, 2009 housing crisis, world global financial crisis, and how people were just sick and tired of big banks, big financial institutions making all these bets on people's homes, on people's futures, with people's pensions, and people really getting the short end of the stick over and over and over and over again for at least the past 100 years or so. And so I guess I want to turn to this one video where this one person in the Bitcoin and blockchain technology space by the name of Vinay Gupta. And so Vinay Gupta is an inventor, an author, seems to be a really cool guy. It has a YouTube channel, and this is all shared in the show notes with this, I suppose. But Vinay has this video here that I was just looking at that was just posted in May of this year, where Vinay is speaking to the European Parliament blockchain, and with the European Parliament with this blockchain presentation. And so I'm going to play this little clip of what Vinay is saying to the European Parliament about Bitcoin, and what Vinay is saying to the European Parliament about blockchain technology, and where we are, where we've come from with Bitcoin versus where we can go with blockchain technology. And so we're going to listen to a couple seconds of this clip and take a look at some of the slides that Vinay was presenting at this blockchain presentation, and then we'll discuss.
We can make the rules that run on the blockchains that we control. We can set up a set of rules, we can implement a set of rules, and it will run as faithfully as Bitcoin does, more or less, without us having to buy into the Bitcoin political vision, which is a very peculiar one.
Okay, so that was really interesting. So and so we're going to listen to that again. But he's saying that we can we can take the Bitcoin technology, we can create our own Bitcoin essentially, and we can make our own rules around Bitcoin, is what Vinay is saying, without accepting the original Bitcoin or the original philosophy of the original Bitcoin. Let's take a listen to that again.
We can make the rules that run on the blockchains that we control. We can set up a set of rules, we can implement a set of rules, and it will run as faithfully as Bitcoin does, more or less, without us having to buy into the Bitcoin political vision, which is a very peculiar one.
They can make the rules. They can write the rules. They can set the rules without buying into the original vision of Bitcoin and what the original version of Bitcoin does, which is very, very particular, as this person is saying. And so, which version of Bitcoin do you want? Do you want the version of Bitcoin and blockchain technology that is decentralized, peer-to-peer, where the rules are very simple and very equal for everybody, people and institutions alike? Or do you want a Bitcoin where, how do you put it, Vinay? What kind of Bitcoin is this?
We can make the rules that run on the blockchains that we control. We can set up a set of rules, we can implement a set of rules, and it will run as faithfully as Bitcoin does, more or less, without us having to buy into the Bitcoin political vision, which is a very peculiar one.
The Bitcoin political vision, which is a very peculiar one. So in the show notes down here for his video, he has the Google slides from the presentation, and you'll be able to take a peek at these if you're interested. I wanted to show you a couple slides from this presentation. And so slide number 25, Vinay says that radicals say that the internet is a country. And while this is obviously not true, Vinay says, it could be argued that many problems in dealing with the internet would be solved by acknowledging it as a special jurisdiction. That's not for today's talk. And so what does that mean? So Vinay is suggesting to the European Parliament that the internet is a special jurisdiction. What's a jurisdiction? We're not going to break down the definitions right here, but it seems as if they want to make the internet a place of regulation, special regulation with special rules. And I suppose when you create special jurisdictions and special rules, that's really going to create special favors for special people. Vinay says in the slide that that's not a talk for today. I wonder when that is going to be a talk for, and if we'll get that information about what kind of special jurisdiction and what kind of governance and rules that would have for the people using it. Slide number 30, Vinay says that Bitcoin is what one anonymous group of political entrepreneurs created. Vinay says in this slide, we do not have to follow their technological roadmap. We can make our own rules. So very, very interesting. We can see that there's this desire to create the own rules that they own, that they control, that they rule, that they govern, that they implement, and that these rules would not be Bitcoin. And so which blockchain technology do you want to have your money tied up in? The one where the rules and the roadmap is created by the highest levels of centralized governments and institutions? Or do you want to be part of the Bitcoin which has the simplest set of rules for peer-to-peer electronic transfer of cash and messages? And so the last slide I was just going to show you here, number 47, slide 47, blockchain technology or blockchain securely implements rules. Government's job is to make rules, and there's an obvious way forward here. So let's follow that logic really closely, because it can get a little complicated. Blockchain securely implements rules. Yes, we all know that we can all trust blockchain technology, true blockchain technology, to implement rules. I mean, we have smart contracts that will implement the rules guaranteed no matter what, right? Blockchain securely implements rules. Truth, fact. The government's job is to make rules. Let's not I guess that's perhaps a little bit of a philosophical statement. What the government's job is to do, but at a high level, the government does make rules and define rules and enforce those rules. That part is definitely true. But with the logic here, if the government's job is to make rules and the blockchain securely implements rules, and then the third point being that there's an obvious way forward here, well, then the logic is pretty straightforward to me. That the government's job is to put its rules using blockchain technology. And so using blockchain technology to enforce the rules kind of seems a little scary. Kind of seems like a little Brave New World-ish, if you ask me. But that's definitely the direction that we're moving. That's definitely the direction that this presentation is going. That's definitely the direction that a lot of these presentations are going to. I guess I think about Dash, right? And so there's a lot of people that love Dash out there. I love Dash out there. I think Dash is amazing. I'm really excited about what they have going on. I know that they're getting ready to release a new version of their software, and it could really increase the price of the Dash coin. One of the biggest concerns I have about the Dash is the whole proof of stake, and the fact that for me to be a node operator, I know for one I can't, right? Because I would need 1,000 Dash, or I would need about $200,000 or so to have 1,000 Dash, then run a Dash node. So, and then I would have one vote. And so voting for Dash is only left up to people who have that level of wealth, that level of interest inside the Dash blockchain. And so as more new people are coming to Dash, those people don't get to vote. They get to vote by using Dash or by not using Dash. But if Dash overtakes the network effect, and if Dash was to overtake Bitcoin in terms of usage and in terms of market cap and whatnot, then 10 years into the future, the only people with this current system that are currently voting and making these decisions for Dash are the wealthiest, richest, centralized people in the world. I suppose you could say that they're decentralized people in the world, but there's really only so many of those people. I think it'd be a lot easier to try to force them all on the same page than it would be thousands of people or thousands of people all across the world. So let's wrap up the show. Where do we go from here? So this has been a lot of information to present to everybody. It's really exciting to see the value of Bitcoin increasing, and it's really exciting just to be past a lot of the scaling debate and to simply have these two coins and to see how the market is going to play out. We collectively all come together to make this decision because we each make a decision. Even if you choose nothing, that's having a choice. That's making a choice. That is you, deciding to not buy. That's you deciding to not sell. That's you deciding to hold on to those coins that you have. And so no matter what you do, you're making a choice. And so collectively, we're all coming to make a choice and a determination of where this is going to go. Where is Bitcoin going to go? Where is Bitcoin Cash going to go? Even if all of the people support one of these two coins, or let me reverse that. Even if all the corporations and wealthiest people and the whales and whatnot, if they all support just one of these two coins and all the people supported the other coin, then it'd be impossible for any two sides. I don't know. I think that Bitcoin being the peer-to-peer cash, the systems and the infrastructure can't exist without larger corporations, but it's just much more difficult. Ultimately, there's these competing interests, and ultimately we don't know which one is going to win out. There's a lot of emotions that people have on both sides of the coin, so to speak. And I think it's probably a good idea to hedge your bets, to be careful, to be cautious, to not necessarily discount Bitcoin Cash, and at the same time to keep an eye on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is definitely the major player in the room. Bitcoin BTC is definitely the coin that has the majority of the power, the majority of the name recognition, the majority of the infrastructure. And I really think that from what I'm seeing in the communities and the boards and the message forums and from Twitter and from Facebook and from everyone all around, even as more and more big names are coming out 100% in favor of Bitcoin Cash and maybe saying negative things about Bitcoin Core, again, the same holds true on both sides. We really need to pay attention to who is supporting each. We need to pay attention to what is actually happening in terms of development, and we need to not necessarily discount either side, because this is going to be raging on for years to come. This debate is not over. There's a lot happening. And, it's just crazy because while all that's happening, the debt ceiling is there, politics are here. These are going to be the next 2 months are going to be crazy and turbulent in terms of, just the time of the year, that strange things happen. And, and so much lack of government taking place. And at the same time, so much, financial concern happening. There's so much more important news for us to get to. There's so many other more important things for us to be talking about. This isn't something that I want to be spending a lot of time going over again and again. So I'm just leaving it there to say, let's respect each other. Let's respect the different technologies that are out there. Even Dogecoin, right, has a place in this world. And let's just work on communicating, work on coming together, work on lifting the entire ecosystem up, because I think we're all striving for the same thing. And if we're not, we're going to be able to, feel that out. We're going to be able to call that out. And when you're checking back in here, I'm going to be bringing you the truth as I see it. I'm going to be bringing you the truth as it's coming out to us. And I'm hoping that you keep me honest. I hope that, you keep your thoughts and what you're seeing in the comments and sharing with everybody. And, together we're going to figure this out. Together we're going to make this through. Just be really careful about going extreme in any one direction. All right. So with that being said, thanks for sticking around. Tap that like button. Check out the show notes below. Follow us on Steemit. Feel free to vote this or re-Steam this. We really appreciate that. It really helps us. You watching, you liking, you commenting. It adds such good energy. It helps people find this channel and what we're doing. It helps keep us alive, keep us independent, because it's really, really a lot to produce these shows. So thank you for sticking around. We have more videos on the way, more coming up. And until next time, I'm glad that together we're minting coins.